Well, a big welcome to everyone who are with us today to have this time together with Kathleen and Jesse, and of course, the darling Noah.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thanks for having us. We're happy to be here.
It's great. I know everybody knows you, but just for those maybe who are just tuning in for the first time or aren't so sure, can you just share who you are and what your connection is to Canadian Martyrs Church and Chaplaincy?
Sure. Yeah. So before I went on mat leave, I was the campus minister for our community, and Jesse and I also in the past year started playing music at the masses on the weekend, which has been lovely. And Canadian Martyrs has become a home for us in our family. So I'm Kathleen, and this is Jesse, and this is Noah.
Thanks for clarifying that.
Yeah.
And who's your noodle guy?
Our little guy is Noah Jesse LeBlanc, and we decided to record this while he's eating lunch because usually he's the most content while he's eating, as most of us are.
Yep.
But
so
we'll
while
see how
you're
this
watching,
goes.
feel free to grab some food and eat with us.
So,
Yeah.
obviously, this time of being in pandemic and isolation has created quite a change for all families. So what's it been like for your family?
For us, it's been fairly normal actually, because I'm still working. So I work at a doctor's office in Hamilton. So as a nurse, so I still go to work, although it's mainly just on the phones, which is my least favorite part of the job.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm thankful I'm still able to triage people over the phone and to work with them that way. And then we come home. I come home and take care of the baby, and Kathleen's just doing her mom thing all the time, taking care of us.
Yeah, like the day-to-day doesn't feel super different. Yeah, because Jesse's still working and I was always at home. But we do miss going on outings and seeing my family. Wow, would you like your shirt? Yeah, so like it's still hard. Not seeing family, not being able to go out and have a break. But yeah, we're thankful Jesse's still working, so that's a good normal thing that has continued.
But for me, that's a bit of a sacrificial element in the sense of even the work that Jesse's doing, that he's going to a doctor's office. And there must be some, you have an element of faith, I suppose, living with that as a profession and having a young family. Things, I don't know what's happened like even for you, Jesse, and for you guys as a family.
Yeah, I think it has been like, yeah, you're just kind of always worried too, because I'm going out into the public, and we are still seeing a few people, like mainly the well baby visits and that kind of stuff. So we are seeing, occasional people, mainly just healthy people that we're allowing in, which is kind of ironic. But as Jesus said, only the healthy are to come to me. I think no. But yeah, so just kind of really, trying to love others and trying to love my family as much as I can while being away as well. And so it's been hard, and it's been a sacrifice. And there's a part of me that, would have been like, some time at home would be nice, but obviously I'm so blessed to continue to serve the population and to be able to, earn an income for my family. So.
That's beautiful. That sort of links with, of course, the question I was going to ask you about that some of the challenges and blessings of this time. So, I mean, that so eloquently speaks to that already. Any other challenges and blessings?
I think a blessing has been actually, so as I mentioned, like Jesse and I are musicians and we play together. And even before the pandemic started, we were praying about, how can we continue to use our music ministry to serve, even though we're trying to be home with Noah. So like we had to say no to a few different invitations to play at different events because, Noah was still very dependent on me and I had to be home with him. But we were like, okay, we feel called to do music ministry. How do we keep doing this but stay home with Noah when he needs us? And so we started on our Instagram, we're called Guy and Girl Music. We started on Thursday nights doing live worship. You can just do a live video and we would lead worship and people would tune in from home. which we love doing, and we got a great response from it. And then the pandemic started, and it was all the more necessary to be doing like live things online. And then we were getting invitations to do different conferences online, and yeah, so it was funny. We were like, wow, our music ministry has like really taken off during the pandemic, and we're able to be home with Noah. Like, it was such an answer to prayer. So that was an unexpected blessing that we've been able to participate and, like, you know, tune into a conference, play a few songs online, and then go back to being with Noah. Like, it was perfect.
Just
so
trying to work around his naps.
yeah, it worked out really well. So
That's amazing. It's so true, eh? That the Lord looks after us. We try to be as faithful as we can. And yeah, good news, eh, Noah? That was wonderful. Clap. I must say that I've quite enjoyed joining with you. In fact, when you did your vigil this past in honor of Pentecost, of course, I'm always behind things, so I did it Sunday night as opposed to Saturday night. It was the vigil after, but it was so moving to be there with you in prayer and song, and it was very. I just was very touched by it. So thank you for sharing your gifts like that, and I hope others can take advantage of that aspect of the gifts you give to God and to the community of faith.
thank you. Yeah, we're happy to.
So I guess speaking of faith, in some ways, we've already touched on it a little bit, but how are you staying engaged, you know, with your faith, or how has it impacted your relationship with Christ at this time? It's an unusual time, so.
Yeah, I think our live worship nights have been like a really nice way to kind of interact with our own faith, and also, you know, the community, the larger community, people from Canadian Murders, but also from, you know, other walks of lives or different provinces. And so it's been kind of cool to be able to lead them in worship from afar. And yeah, just as well, like on Sundays, we'll usually do our own kind of just like service where we're reading the readings and
playing worship music.
Playing worship music, and Noah's, you know, giving up all his intentions during the entire thing and during the song. Sometimes it's a very big cry to the Lord.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a giggle, but yeah, just really kind of diving into our own faith and our own tradition as well in the ways that we can, and then trying to stay connected as well by listening to some of Father Marcus as well on YouTube or that kind of stuff. Whoa! And then obviously personal prayer around this little man's nap time.
Yeah. If he naps, then we can have our personal prayer time. If he doesn't, then it's just the duty of the moment.
That's so beautiful.
We pray in a different way.
Yeah.
It's just one long prayer with a little guy, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I think so.
Oh dear. You mentioned this a little bit already, Jesse, but are there ways you're able to stay connected with the church and chaplaincy, or even with the Universal Church? You said something about you'd listened to some of Father Marcus's musings, and are there any other things that have? Oh, Kathleen, you're very connected.
I was going to say, yeah, something that I'm thankful for is Sister Mary asked me to volunteer as one of the group that's calling people from our community during the quarantine. And just, yeah, so maybe you who are listening maybe have received a call. We're calling people from our community just to see how you're doing and to pray with you and to make sure that, you know how to stay connected with our community right now. And it's been like so nice. I mean, I'm probably the slowest in getting through my calls because, yeah, it depends on if he's napping or not. But I love talking with people from our community, and just like we have such a diverse like personality of people. And so it's been really beautiful talking to people that I've met or I haven't met and hearing how they're doing. And so, yeah, I've been thankful for that opportunity that is happening, and glad that it's happening, because I think, yeah, I mean, I even got my own personal call from one of the volunteers, and it was nice to be like, oh, I'm being thought of and being prayed for. This is really lovely. So that's been really nice.
Oh, that's great, because you're the first volunteer I've actually spoken to directly. Karen Salamenic, bless her, has been taking the lead on this, and so it's nice to hear what it's like from a volunteer's perspective. I've heard from others how much they're enjoying getting the calls, but you've had both experiences.
Yes, yeah. Yeah,
Oh, that's great. That's great.
We felt connected the other day listening to your interview with Greg and Tracy and their two
Yeah.
little guys.
Yeah, that was really nice.
Being like,
That
wow,
was so much fun. It was
Yeah.
just so much fun to
They're
be with them.
Yeah, we said we need to get together with them when the quarantine's over.
Yeah.
We love them.
Yes. Oh, 3 little boys would be just pretty wild together. So when you think about it, what gives you hope or helps you stay connected to hope? Because of course we were anticipating we could start working towards opening the church and doing a few more things, and now, you know, in their wisdom, things have had to be expanded now till the end of June. So yeah, what kind of gives you a sense of hope or keeps you going, I suppose?
Yeah, I think one way is just kind of hearing how the Lord's working in other people's lives, and how people are using media so creatively, like this, for example. And yeah, I feel like there's a real strengthening of the community because there needs to be, like, people have that thirst and that desire to connect, but we can't do it in the way that we're used to. So we're kind of forced to be creative and to lean on the Lord in that as well. And really, you know, I think probably a lot of people's prayer lives are increasing just because they want this to end, you know. And so yeah, a real kind of increase in trusting in the Lord and just being grateful for the friends that we have and how we're able to connect with them and seeing what they're doing in order to kind of, you know, help us out. You know?
Yeah, it's a time of creativity from whether it's in your family or from the community's perspective or different organizations that we're connected with. Like, the creativity of how people are coming together is really interesting to see. And I hope that some of it continues. Like, we just invited, or we're working on inviting our neighbors to do Alpha. And I was really like hesitant because I was like, well, I kind of just want to wait until, like, not that we're doing Alpha at our church, but like just like in our backyard or whatever. I was like, well, maybe we should wait till the quarantine's over, then we can like have them over. But then I just, you know, was encouraged by a friend to just do it because like the time is now. So she said, like, why don't you just meet in your backyard? And because they're like our neighbors, obviously, and try it then. So we're waiting for the opportunity for Jesse and the husband of our neighbors to be barbecuing at the same time. Because he's the one we kind of need to like really encourage to come. So we're waiting for that opportunity. Pray the Holy Spirit ordains it, and then we're gonna hopefully invite them to start doing Alpha because they're Christian. But yeah, we just think we're missing going to church. They're probably missing going to church. So why don't we try doing Alpha together? So hopefully that works out.
Oh, that's amazing. I'm hoping in the fall we might try doing an online Alpha.
Nice.
So, yeah, so we'll see. So it's nice to hear these little seeds of possibilities happening, still stirring, even though we can't do it the way we're so used to doing it.
Yeah, but I've heard there's unique fruits to doing it online that people that normally can't come out to Alpha can do it online. So there's, you know, a different dynamic, which is, yeah, it'll be neat to see how that works.
Yeah. Well, I could go on forever just staring at that other guy's face.
His messy spaghetti face.
Oh, this has been wonderful. Thank you both and little Noah so much. It's just, you know, it's so hard not to see people in person, but thank heavens at least this happened in an age where we do have the technology that we can be together at least this way. And thank you for sharing your faith and your family and your trust in God. I think that it means a lot to me personally, and I know it will mean a lot to our listeners. So blessings. I know we pray for one another, and we pray for our world. And thank you all, and thanks to everyone for joining in. I'm sure you've had as much fun as I have.
Thank you,
Take care.
Good to see you.
Start recording, but it doesn't matter. Aaron will edit everything out. So.
Will she edit this out?
She'll probably